Level 1. Just for now. You're 22. You take the job at Brandt Logistics because the EMT course costs money, and money is the one thing the course doesn't give you until you finish it. So you'll work the returns desk for 6 months. Save. Go back. That's the plan. You even say the number out loud in the interview, just till the fall. And the woman from HR writes something down and doesn't smile. $15 an hour. Seasonal associate. They give you a vest 2 sizes too big and a scanner on a curled cord and a stool in the far corner of the warehouse where the returns come in. Your job is simple. A box comes back. You open it. You decide what it is now. Resell, damage, landfill. And you tell the green screen, and the green screen tells the truth to a system you'll never see. The notebook comes to work with you. On your 15-minute break, you sit in the break room and study. Airway, breathing, circulation. You've drawn a little paramedic badge in the corner of the cover the way a kid draws the car they'll own one day. Reggie sees it the first week. Reggie has been on this floor for 38 years. He looks at the badge and he looks at you and he says one thing, good. Keep it where you can see it. You think he means it as encouragement. It takes you 11 years to understand it was a warning. The work is easy in the way that empties you. By 10 a.m., you've stopped noticing the beep of the scanner. By noon, you could do it asleep. There's a metal staircase in the middle of the warehouse that goes up to a glass office where the supervisors sit, and from your corner, you can see them up there, moving their mouths, holding coffee, and you think, you don't want it. You want the fall and the badge and out. Friday, you get your first check. $540 after tax. You put $300 toward the course and feel, for one clean weekend, exactly on schedule. You call your mother on Sunday like always. She asks how the job is. Temporary, you say. It's true when you say it. It is the truest thing you will say for a long time, and you won't notice the exact Sunday it stops being true, because that's not how it happens. Nobody warns you that a life doesn't change on a Sunday. It changes on all of them, a little, until you look up. Level 2. Next cycle. 2 years somehow. The fall you were going to go back for came and went twice. The course refunds you'd planned turned into a rent you'd planned and then a rent you hadn't. You're an associate now. They dropped the word seasonal off your title and added 75 cents. And for a week that felt like a promotion instead of what it was, which was them noticing you hadn't left. You know the returns desk better than anyone. You've built little systems no one asked for, a way of sorting damages that cuts an hour off the count, a code you use in the notes field so the night shift knows what you meant. Your supervisor, a decent tired man named Halverson, says you've got a head for it, so when the floor-led spot opens, you put in for it. You've earned it. You've done the math on what a lead makes. 21 an hour, and 21 an hour is the EMT course paid for in a single year. They give it to Bianca. Bianca is fine. Bianca has been here 10 months. What Bianca has that you don't is that Bianca is leaving in a year and everybody upstairs knows it, so the lead title is a thing they can hand her that costs them nothing because she'll take it to her next job and never cash it in on this floor. You are not leaving. That is the whole problem. You are the one they can't afford to move. Because moving you means training someone to be as good in your corner as you are, and no one wants to pay for that. Halverson tells you in the stairwell, half apology. Next cycle. I mean it. You're first in line next cycle. You believe him. You are 24 and you still believe a line has a front, and that standing in it counts as moving. Here is what a dead-end job does that no one tells you. It doesn't slam a door. It just quietly keeps you exactly level while the water rises. You are making 75 cents more than you did at 22, and the course costs $400 more than it did at 22, and so you are further from the badge now than the day you started, and you did nothing wrong. You showed up. You were good. That was the mistake, being good at the thing you meant to leave. You call your mother on Sunday. She asks about the course. Soon, you say. It's the first lie. It won't feel like a lie. It'll feel like a plan. That's how the good ones work. A dead-end job never takes your life all at once. It takes it one next cycle at a time, and there is no limit to how many of those a single life will hold. Level 3, the anchor. You're 26. It's a Tuesday, which is when things like this happen. On the day of the week no one is braced for. Your phone lights up at the desk. Mom. And she isn't crying, which is worse. She's using the flat, careful voices people use when they're holding something enormous very still. And she says your father's face has gone strange and he can't hold his tea. And here is the cruelty the script has to say plainly. You know exactly what it is. You know it in 3 seconds from the notebook. Face, arm, speech, time. The course you never finished taught you the one thing you'd need to recognize the worst day of your family's life, and you recognize it. And you are useless with the knowing because you're 40 minutes away on a stool in a warehouse, and the ambulance you call, the ambulance that comes, the two calm people who lift him, that was the job. That was the badge. It pulls up to your father's house wearing the life you were going to have, and it takes him, and you follow in a car that smells like the warehouse because everything you own smells like the warehouse now. He lives. He is not who he was. The left side stays slow. He needs someone, and the someone is a rota of your mother and you, and the thing that rota runs on, quietly, unromantically, completely, is your job, not the job you wanted, this one, because this one has the health plan that covers the physio, and this one is 40 minutes away instead of a city away, and this one, God help you, is steady, and steady is the only currency that matters now. That's the night the notebook goes in the drawer. You don't throw it out. Throwing it out would be a decision, and you don't make one. You just put it in the drawer under the takeaway menus, and closing the drawer is the quietest sound in the world. The job stops being temporary the exact moment it becomes safe. That's the trap, and it's a beautiful one, because it's built out of the best parts of you, your loyalty, your love for your father, your unwillingness to gamble the insurance on a dream. Everything holding you to that stool is a thing you'd be ashamed not to have. Nobody chains you to a dead-end job. You do it yourself, with the people you'd never leave. You call your mother on Sunday, except now Sunday is a shift you drive to, not a call you make. She asks, out of habit, if you're still at that place. For now, you say, over the sound of his physio timer. You both let it stand. It's the kindest lie in the house. Level 4, the revolving door, 7 years. You've stopped counting them in fall semesters and started counting them in leaving cakes, because that's the rhythm you learn on the floor. They come in young and bright and temporary, like you were, exactly like you were, and you train them. You're good at training them. You're patient. You remember what it's like to not know where anything is. You teach a kid named Marcus the whole returns operation in 3 weeks, every shortcut, every code in the notes field you invented at 24. Marcus is sharp. Marcus asks the question you stopped asking around year 3. Why do we do it this way? And where you'd have written a workaround, Marcus writes an email to someone upstairs. 14 months. That's how long Marcus lasts. Floor lead in 8, off the floor entirely by 14, into some logistics software company that pays him to know exactly the things you taught him. There's a cake. Good luck, Marcus. In blue gel. You sign the card. You write good luck. With a real exclamation mark because you mean it, you actually do. And you carry the plate with your slice back to the corner and eat it on the stool. You buy a lot of cards over the years. You get good at the little verse. You are the person still here who wishes everyone else well as they go. And you are sincere every single time. And every single time a small, clean voice you'd never say out loud asks, when do they buy one for you? Here's the arithmetic no one does. In 7 years, you have trained by a rough count 9 people who now out-earn you. Not one of them was smarter than you. Several of them you had to show which button clears a stuck scan. The only variable, the only one, is that they treated the job as a doorway and you treated it as a room. And you didn't choose to treat it as a room. Your father's physio schedule chose it. The insurance chose it. But the floor doesn't know that. The floor just sees a man who stayed, and the world has one word for the man who stays, and the word is not loyal. The word is stuck. $19.50 an hour now. Senior associate. They add words to your title the way you'd add a shelf to a room you can't move out of. Then you do the other math. The math that actually runs your life. Your father's care team is here. The specialist who finally, after 4 wrong ones, got his medication right. Your mother, who is 63 and lifts a grown man twice a day, needs you 40 minutes away, not relocated to a city for a job with a 90-day probation and a new insurance plan that won't cover a pre-existing everything. You call your mother on Sunday. She's tired. He had a bad week. She doesn't ask about the course anymore. That's its own kind of grief. The day the people who love you quietly stop asking because they've decided gently to stop hurting you with it. Still at Brandt, you tell her before she can not ask. Still at Brandt. A dead-end job never takes your life all at once. It takes it one leaving cake at a time. Level 5, furniture, 11 years. You are, by now, the single most valuable person on the warehouse floor, and that is precisely why you will never leave it. You know things no manual holds. You know that aisle 14 floods when it rains hard because the loading door's seal went years ago and nobody logged it. You know which supplier fakes its damage rates and by how much. You know the return system's ghost, a rounding error in the resale value calc that's been quietly costing Brandt money since before your current boss was hired, and you flagged it once, in writing, and got a thanks. We'll look into it, and they never did, and now it's yours the way a scar is yours. New supervisors, when they're confused, don't ask the manual. They come down the metal stairs and ask you. You are the institutional memory of a company that will not promote you, because a promotion means finding your replacement, and your replacement doesn't exist, because they never let you build one. They give you returns lead, no raise worth the word, 60 cents, 21.10 an hour, and a lanyard in a different color. It is, you understand by now, not a rung. It's a bracket, a way of pricing your knowledge just high enough that leaving feels expensive and just low enough that staying costs them nothing. The chair, though. That year they buy you an ergonomic chair, a real one, $300 of mesh and levers, and half the floor is jealous of it, and you sit in it for the first time and feel the exact shape of the trap close around you, because a company that will never move you up will absolutely make you comfortable where you are. Comfort is the cheapest anchor they own. A good chair is what they give a man instead of a future. That's the year Reggie retires, 40 years. They do it in the break room, the same sheet cake, happy retirement Reggie, and the regional manager drives out special to shake his hand and hand him an envelope, and inside the envelope is a $50 gift card, $50, for 40 years. Reggie holds it and nods like it's fine, because what's the alternative? And on his way out, he stops at your corner and looks at the ergonomic chair and then at you, and neither of you says the thing. He just puts his soft old cap on your desk, leaves it there, doesn't explain, and walks out into the parking lot for the last time. You keep the cap on a hook by the green screen. You tell people it's nothing. You call your mother on Sunday. She says your father asked this week in his slow, careful way whether you were happy. You told him yes. You tell your mother you told him yes. Nobody in the family says the word that everybody's thinking, which is that yes has become the family's most used lie, passed around the three of you like a dish nobody wants but nobody will drop. Level 6, the near miss. You're 36 when the door you stopped looking for opens on its own. It's Marcus. The kid you trained 14 years ago runs operations at his company now, and they're building out a returns and logistics team, and Marcus, who has never once forgotten who taught him, texts you directly, not a posting, a door held open by a friend. We need someone who actually knows how this works. That's you. It's always been you. $28 an hour to start, real title, a team, a path that goes up instead of sideways. He even offers to handle the whole thing himself, quietly, so you don't have to interview like a stranger. You take the text into the warehouse toilet so no one sees your face do what it does. 28 an hour. It is almost exactly the number the EMT course would have led to, arriving 14 years late from a completely different direction, and for 1 hour standing in a cubicle in a warehouse bathroom, you are 22 again. and the plan is alive and there is a version of the rest of your life where you say yes. Then you do the other math, the math that actually runs your life. Your father's care team is here, the specialist who finally, after 4 wrong ones, got his medication right, here. Your mother, who is 63 and lifts a grown man twice a day, needs you 40 minutes away, not relocated to a city for a job with a 90-day probation and a new insurance plan that won't cover a pre-existing everything. Marcus's offer is a door, but you are holding a wall up with your back and the wall has your family behind it and you cannot let go of a wall to walk through a door. That's not a metaphor. That's just the day. You call Marcus. You mean to be brave about it. You end up just saying it's not the right time, and Marcus, this is the part that stays with you. Marcus is kind about it. He doesn't push. He says the door stays open, call anytime, and he means it. And his kindness is worse than any cruelty would have been, because cruelty you could resent, and there is nothing to resent here. There is only a good man being decent about the fact that your life doesn't have room in it for the thing you want. That's the night the plan doesn't go in a drawer. It dies. You feel it go. Not loud. You sit in the car outside your parents' house with the engine off and you say it out loud, alone. For the first time in 14 years, I'm not going to be a paramedic. And the sentence is so quiet and so old that it barely disturbs the air. Some plans don't end when you fail. They end when you finally stop lying, and the stopping is the only funeral they get. You call your mother on Sunday. You do not tell her about Marcus. Some lies you tell to protect people, and some you tell because saying the truth out loud would make you have to survive their face while they hear it. Everything's fine, you say. She says, good. 2 people who love each other agreeing to a thing that isn't true because the truth has nowhere to sit down in that house. Level 7, the door. Your father dies when you're 41. Slowly, and then the way they warned you, all at once, on a Tuesday, because it's always a Tuesday. It is not a tragedy the way the stroke was a tragedy. It is 5 years of him coming loose from himself, and at the end it is quiet, and you are there, and your hand is on his the whole time, and the last clear thing he says to you days before in the slow, careful voice is you were always there. He means it as the highest thing a father can say. You take it that way. You also know what it cost, the being always there, and you would pay it again. And both of those are true, and that's the whole of grief right there in one sentence you'll carry the rest of your life. And then, this is the part nobody prepares you for, the anchor comes up. Not by your choice, by his absence. The rota stops, the specialist appointments stop. Your mother, smaller now, tells you to go live your life, and for the first time in 15 years, the calendar that ran your life has nothing on it but you. You are 41. Marcus's company got bought. That specific door closed years ago. The EMT course at 41 with 15 years of nothing on paper but a warehouse, you look at it honestly in the daylight and you let it stay closed. And there's a strange peace in choosing it this time instead of losing it. So you do the one thing left in reach. Brandt is hiring a shift supervisor, up the metal stairs, into the glass office. 19 years you looked at that office and thought that looks like nothing. Now a decent regional manager named Ms. Okafor, who's watched you run the floor through 3 supervisors who couldn't, tells you flat out, nobody knows this operation like you. Apply and I'll back you. And she does. And you get it. $28.40 an hour, 19 years to make the number Marcus offered you in an afternoon. It is not a triumph. It would be a lie to film it like one. It is a man finally being allowed into a room he could have run at 24, arriving at 41, and looking down from the glass at the corner where he spent half his life and feeling, not victory, something quieter and more honest, relief that it moved at all. You call your mother on Sunday. You tell her you got the supervisor job. There's a pause on the line, and then she says, your dad would be proud, and you notice she doesn't say the course, doesn't say paramedic, doesn't say the old dream, and you understand she buried it a long time ago too, gently, to spare you, and that the two of you have been quietly grieving the same lost life on either end of a phone for 15 years without ever once saying so. Level 8. The cake. You're 44. You've run the floor from the glass office for 3 years, and you're good at it. Of course you're good at it. You were always good at it. That was never the question. 31 an hour. A life that finally quietly works. Your mother comes for dinner on Sundays now instead of a phone call, and neither of you tells any lies at the table, and you didn't know until it happened how much that would feel like being rich. Then one gray morning at 6, you're up in the glass and you look down and there's a new kid at the mouth of the returns aisle, 22, a vest 2 sizes too big, standing exactly where you stood, small against all that steel, and tucked under his arm, dog-eared, is a cheap spiral notebook, and even from up here, even through the glass, you know precisely what it is. It's a plan. It's a fall he means to make somewhere else. It's a badge drawn in the corner of a cover. It's 6 months, tops. You come down the metal stairs, and here is the only real choice a dead-end job ever offered you, saved up for 22 years and handed to you at the bottom of the stairs. You could train him the way they trained you, make him good, make him valuable, make him stuck, a room instead of a doorway, comfortable enough to stay, useful enough that they'll never let him leave. That's the machine. That's how it feeds. You know every part of it because you are every part of it. You don't. You sit down next to him. You ask what the notebook's for. He tells you, nursing, part-time, he's got a semester banked already. And he says it a little defensively, the way you say a dream to someone you're sure will laugh. You don't laugh. You tell him about the tuition reimbursement program buried 3 clicks deep in the staff portal that nobody ever points anyone to, the one that would have paid for your course at 22 if a single person up those stairs had bothered to mention it. You put him on the shift that ends in time for evening classes, and you tell him the one true thing Reggie was trying to tell you with 4 words and a badge, except you have more of them now, so you spend them. This place will let you stay forever. That's not the same as wanting you. Keep the notebook where you can see it, and the day you've got somewhere to go, you go and you don't feel bad and you don't wait for a cake. He looks at you like you're strange. 22-year-olds always do. You did. He'll understand it in about 11 years, or he'll be gone in 8 and never need to. Either way, it's done. You climb back up the stairs to the glass, and Reggie's soft old cap is still on a hook by your door, and you leave it there. Because somewhere on this floor, right now, a 22-year-old is opening the first box of a job that's only supposed to last 6 months. He's doing the quick math on a course he's going to go back for. He's certain, the way you were certain, that he's just passing through. Everyone thinks it's just for now. The job doesn't argue. It doesn't need to. It just hands him a vest 2 sizes too big and a stool in the corner and all the time in the world, which is the one thing it takes from you a single next cycle at a time and never, ever gives back. He's about to learn that math from the very beginning.